Alright, Bungie are back with This Week in Destiny, the TWID. We're going to do the low effort TWID reading this week. I mean, I guess technically I kind of do that every week, but this time we'll just read the blog because it's getting kind of late here. First thing, Bungie did say, separate to the TWID, they've prepared a fix for the lightweight sword issue, those busted swords at the moment, and to avoid disabling them, they'll be deploying that fix on September 23rd instead of a live update. So that means we get the full weekend with the busted swords, which is certainly fun. But getting into the TWID, they talk about power climb improvements, the return of Iron Banner, and the Desert Perpetual Epic Raid. So first up, they say finding the path. Over the past several weeks, we've been adjusting, tuning, and tweaking portal rewards with improvements made in and leading up to 9101. But these shorter term changes have not met the needs of players enough, and we still need to address more of the overarching feedback. One thing they're doing immediately, they will release another live update today that will increase the number of rewards dropping from Fireteam and Pinnacle activities, and we're going over some of the bigger changes that are coming to progression in the future, but they're also still fine-tuning all of the specifics, and they'll share more in future TWIDs as we get things dialed in. But rather than make you wait, we want to give you a general direction that they're working towards. So firstly, for raid and dungeon updates, they say in next week's update 9102, they are buffing up raid rewards in Desert Perpetual, as well as changing up legacy raid and dungeon content to let you farm exotics infinitely without a weekly lockout. Now, of course, those older raids have become less relevant, but some folks still want to farm those exotics, so without the weekly lockout component, that's definitely going to be nice because we no longer get the featured activities. So for a full preview of changes coming on September 23rd, they're increasing power gains from completing encounters in Desert Perpetual between 3 and 500 power, regardless of the number of feats active, and beyond 500, that will affect 4+ feat runs of the raid. So that's nice, more power in general for everyone, but also more beneficial for players who are a bit lower on the power band. Also, the Desert Perpetual raid rewards will now drop starting at Tier 3, with additional feats increasing chances for tier upgrades. I actually thought they'd already done that, but nonetheless it'll be live next week. On top of that though, they say the raid Cutthroat Combatants modifier will now count as 2 feats when determining reward quality, so that's nice. Otherwise, they're removing weekly friction to exotic weapon rewards in legacy raid and dungeon activities, and they now have a chance to drop each time their source encounter is completed, so that's nice. Otherwise, adjusting the power climb here, they say we've been moving in the direction of improving the power of your drops in Portal and the raid. On Tuesday, we took a few steps forward with update 9101 by incrementally upgrading the power of drops in certain power bands that weren't where we wanted them to be. But they do intend to take even bigger strides forward in an upcoming patch. So in terms of the plan, they say they're working on speeding up the power climb even further. On top of that, bonus engram power updates will come, and they plan for catch-up mechanics to help your friends on the power climb, which is an interesting one. They add, in addition to the changes speeding up the power climb, earning seasonal power is like climbing a mountain, and we want to welcome more Guardians to the mountaintop every season. So to do this, we need to continue to improve the power players gain from playing in the portal, whether they're the type of player who wants to aim for the highest grades or not. And speeding up the climb for everyone is about creating more opportunities for all players to gain power. So in general, as a general concept, that sounds positive. Here they go on to bonus engram power updates. So they say we want bonus engrams to be a source of motivation, encouraging you to play the variety of activities in the portal for progression, and providing a pathway to consistently gain additional power. And to do so, and in the interest of helping more players get to the mountaintop, bonus engrams from portal activities will contribute to the power climb up until the 550 cap. So that's definitely a big positive, because I feel like a lot of those bonus engrams, especially when players can't get higher tier rewards from them, you know, if it's not a higher tier drop and it also isn't a powerful drop, then there's sort of a question of what are we really doing with them. So I'd say that that is a big positive. Otherwise, in terms of catching up to your friends, if you've missed part of the power climb or you're still feeling too far behind, don't worry, we're going to add a new catch-up mechanic that will help jumpstart you into earning power and higher tiered rewards. The goal is to ensure that there are lots of opportunities to earn more powerful and higher tier loot, even if you're flying in during the latter part of the season. And there'll be more details on that soon. So another positive, I guess, is kind of interesting that they talk about a catch-up mechanic. Not really sure how that will play out, but something they're working on. They also add, though, that the weekly ritual is not giving enough rewards to the power climb right now, and there are several weekly bumps built into the portal as part of the Seasonal Hub weekly reward track, but we want logging into the game each week at reset to be even more meaningful and worthwhile, kind of like it previously was with resets. We definitely have lost a bit of the impact there, so in future seasons, like Lawless, after Renegades goes live, we want players who consistently finish their weeklies to reach the top of the power climb with plenty of time to earn all of the rewards they want. Earning additional power rewards beyond weeklies, such as playing the expansion or portal, should be an additional option to accelerate your progress even faster, rather than feeling like the only way to actually make progress. They say in 910 we took our first steps towards enhancing the weekly ritual by adding a new challenge to Desert Perpetual, but for a future update, we're taking another small step forward by improving the weekly challenges that you can access in the Seasonal Hub. We intend to build off this start and develop more robust weekly challenges for future expansions and seasons, and we're still working on all of the details on how to hit these goals, but we'll be back next week with more info on how we're making bigger improvements to the power climb. So this is generally what Bungie are working towards. I suppose a roadmap of specific things they actually want to hit. Most of them, to be honest, sound fairly good. In terms of exactly when they will drop, I'm assuming that this will be throughout the remainder of the current season because obviously they're referencing later on in the season and making things more effective on that front, with the exception of, specific references to Season of the Lawless and Renegades with the kind of weekly changes. So in general, they sound good. And I would again kind of reiterate, based on the changes we've had, Bungie just need to try and make bigger swings in the direction that they're moving instead of these much smaller sort of incremental changes, because I think part of the negative effect of that over time is that obviously Bungie keep dropping updates one after another. Another issue with that is the kind of technical debt I assume that they accrue by making so many changes back to back and moving changes between different patches, which also results in more bugs. So yeah, as a general rule, taking bigger swings a bit more frequently might be more helpful here, both in terms of players actually enjoying the game and feeling like there has been a significant enough change, but also, presumably, it means that Bungie waste a bit less time. So overall, that would be my feedback, but otherwise, most of these changes sound pretty good, and again, I imagine they will be rolling out throughout the remainder of this season. Otherwise, they talk about the Iron Banner in the TWID right here. They show off a screenshot of Guardians wearing that new armor set that they added to Iron Banner, the insanely cool one, or should we say the one that they added after everyone went wild because there wasn't a new insanely cool one. Either way, the important thing is we got some nice Iron Banner armor in the end, and actually, Iron Banner's really rewarding. If you're at 450 power, I think tier 5 drops are incredibly consistent. I've heard folks saying they're getting tier 5s at beyond 400 power, which is nice, but if you're not at those kind of power levels, even getting tier 4 rewards and the additional power we get from Iron Banner this week is pretty beneficial, so definitely take advantage of it. Just keep in mind it will end on September 23rd. Otherwise, there's a section about the epic raid, and they say it's almost here and it will kick off on September 27th, so Bungie will be streaming that with CB Gray and Evan hosting, and the pre-show kicks off at 6 AM Pacific time on the Bungie Twitch channel. On top of that, there is a watch reward for players who tune into the race for 1 hour between September 27th and September 28th at 6 AM Pacific. Basically, you'll be able to get this emblem, which is a pretty cool looking one right there. There'll be a bunch of channels you can see right here that will also be following the race. Extra details in the TWID, I'll link that down below. They've also updated the race rules. They actually went over these previously, so I won't read all of them, sorry, but they do say streaming is required, but only one member of the 6 fireteam members must stream in order to potentially get worlds first. And I think that's kind of a controversial addition, to be honest. I don't think it's fair that streaming is a requirement. I guess it's good that only one member is required to do it, but it does essentially mean you have to be able to stream the raid if you intend on trying to get a first clear, because otherwise it won't be recognized. There's also specific platforms that you need to do that on. Maybe it's a sort of anti-cheating measure to an extent, not really sure, but as a general rule, streaming being required for a gameplay accomplishment, can't say I generally agree with it, to be honest. But I'm not going to focus on that, too much. Otherwise, they've got the Bungie Bounty for Good, and they say that'll be kicking off very soon. So starting today, September 18th at 10 AM Pacific, there'll be Crucible Chaos, in support of their partners, El Centro de la Raza, if I'm saying that correctly, and Hispanic Heritage Month. So if you want to support that, again, details are in the TWID. And of course, there's the awesome Bungie bounty emblem there as well. Otherwise, on top of known issues, there's a patch note preview for next Tuesday, September 23rd. So for Graviton Spike, they're reducing the bonus AoE damage on stasis overcharge hits versus players from 30 to 1. That's quite a big change. I'm sure some folks will enjoy that, given that it's quite strong in PvP. On Grand Overture, they're increasing the total reserves from 48 to 58 from 48. Yeah, there's a bit of a weird grammar thing going on. Otherwise, for Queenbreaker, they've reverted the 8% nerf to damage versus bosses. Good! That's a positive. They've also reverted the 15% nerf to the charge time bonus from combat sites. And these two changes, revert all of the nerfs from update 9.10. So it's completely unnerfed, which is nice. On Chromatic Fire, though, they say they've returned the super-based elemental debuff application to Chromatic Fire's explosions, also nice. On Controverse, though, they've reinstated the energy return for Vortex Grenades, as well as their ability to trigger the exotic perk twice. Finally, though, Younger Hamkara's Spine, in terms of exotics anyway, they fixed an issue where Younger Hamkara's Spine wasn't granting the correct amount of grenade energy when killing Guardians with an ability, and it should now always give the intended plus 8% for Guardian kills and plus 33% for combatant kills before stat scaling. So those are changes affecting exotics next week, many of them reverting changes that Bungie had previously made when they made that comment about more impactful patch changes and less wastage in terms of patch changes. I guess this is a learning experience in that respect, and for us as players at least, they'll be reverted, which is nice. Otherwise, they fixed an issue where the grenade and melee stats were giving less passive energy regeneration than intended, another issue when purchasing an archived pass from the Monument to Seasons Past, where it wouldn't provide chronologs if the consumables inventory was full. They also say lost chronologs will be provided to those affected at a later time, so not next week, but some point after that. Otherwise, they fixed a problem where Pressure Cooker did not allow players to receive their time bonus, and in Reclaim, Briggs will now do more damage across all difficulties. Totally agree with that one when I've been using Briggs in Reclaim. The few times that I've found them, they definitely don't feel as strong as they probably should. Otherwise, there are some lovely Artist of the Week contributions, and of course a Movie of the Week. If you want to check that out, you can do so in the TWID. Otherwise, they're continuing to receive feedback on Ash and Iron and working on improvements and changes that make the game enjoyable and fun for everyone. We appreciate your passion and patience for Destiny 2 and wish you luck on your World First Race raid attempts and your Iron Banner event participation alike. Of course, a World First Race and an Iron Banner are pretty similar things, but yeah, overall, some good communications here from Bungie. Obviously, they are communicating kind of early because we don't have specific dates for all of the updates. Some of them will be dropping next week, like some of the raid changes to powerful rewards and power gains from a few other kind of content elements, as well as removing the lockout on exotic weapon rewards. So broadly positive, and let us know your thoughts in the comment section. For today, that is the TWID, the low effort TWID. I guess we'll go back to a normal TWID next week. Like I say, it's kind of late here. I just had some food. I'm trying to chill out, man. I'm trying to get out of this office. I've been playing Destiny for hours today, so I guess I've had my fun. If you found the video helpful, a rating very much helps me out on the channel. Be sure as well to get subscribed for more content. I'll keep you posted with the patch next week, and we'll see how things play out. Otherwise though, cheers for watching, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.